I'm not a saint. I'm not a saint. Please do not get me wrong, I'm no saint either. These common expressions tell of a popular perception of who saints are. And they tell of an understanding of saints as men and women who are perfect in everything, and as people who live an out of this world type of life. Well, this is not an accurate description of who saints are. While there are saints who live in heaven, there are also saints who live right here on earth, trying their level best to live out the gospel. And we've encountered some of those in our lives. Today we celebrate the solemnity of all saints, and it is a celebration of those already in heaven and those who are still here on earth. But even more importantly, this solemnity is meant to invite each one of us to reflect on how we can live out God's call to saintliness. The gospel that we've just listened to on the Beatitudes gives us a blueprint of the radical life we are called to embrace so as to set ourselves on the road to saintliness or holiness. And the gospel, as we've heard it, proposes to us a poverty of spirit or detachment, where nothing in our lives becomes so important that it takes the place of God. The gospel also mentions a hunger and a thirst for righteousness. It mentions the active practice of mercy. It mentions a cleanness of heart. And it mentions actively working for peace. And it also invites us to a faithfulness to God amidst persecution and other forms of pressure. These are examples of ways that can make us genuine children of God, or it can help us to become saints as well. This blueprint is not meant for people in heaven. Rather, it is meant for people here on earth, just like you and me. And as a matter of fact, we've encountered people in life, or just ordinary people that we've known, who embodied these beatitudes. We know people who deeply loved, who put others ahead of themselves. We know those who made the effort to put God above everything else. And we know those who worked for peace. Were they born like that? Not really. Saints are not born. Saints are simply made here on earth. Saints are people who make certain choices in life and try to live them faithfully. Sometimes they manage to live these choices that are really directed towards the sanctity, and other times they miserably fail. But these are men and women who trust in God's help, and God's help, grace to accompany them along the road to holiness. History is replete with so many examples of people you would never think would live saintly lives, or even be considered for sainthood by our mother church. We know of Dorothy Day. We know that she had an abortion and lived as an anarchist for so many years. We know St. Augustine, who was very wild in his youth and even had a kid before marriage. There are so many examples like that. And we even know our own Venerable Father Patrick Peyton, who had a bad Irish temper, which he confesses to in his books, his autobiography. The people we admire and the people who are now held up as role models of sanctity struggled with all sorts of evil appetites and longings and ambitions and disappointments and vanities and all sorts of eccentricities. But they trusted and relied on God's grace to help them along this road to holiness. May we on this day be reminded of God's call to each one of us to saintliness as individuals and as families. And may we be inspired by the example of ordinary men and women who made the effort to live out the gospel. And may we be open also to his voice through an attentive reflection on sacred scripture. And may we also open our lives to his transforming grace that comes to us through the sacraments, especially the sacraments of reconciliation and the sacrament of the Eucharist. The Lord be with you.
And with your spirit.